Hello and welcome to Devendu's podcast. In today's episode, we will be telling you a story about JadaBharata. So let's get started. Long ago, there lived a noble king named Nabi and his queen Merudevi. They had a divine child, Rishabhadeva, an incarnation of Lord Vishnu himself. Wise, majestic, and completely self controlled. Rishabhadeva grew into a great ruler and spiritual teacher. When he came of age, his father retired to the sacred land of Badarikashram and Rishabhadeva became a king. Rishabhadeva later had 100 sons, and the eldest among them was Bharata, the very king after whom our land came to be known as Bharatvarsha or Bharat. Like his father, Bharata was a righteous, wise, and devoted to spiritual life. After ruling the kingdom with justice and compassion for many years, Bharata eventually renounced his throne. Handing the kingdom over to his sons, he retired to the forest to dedicate his life fully to meditation and devotion to Lord Vishnu. He settled near the sacred Gandaki river and a place famous for the holy Salagrama stones worshipped as forms of Lord Vishnu. One day, while I was meditating on the river bank, a frightened doe came to drink water. Suddenly, the roar of a lion echoed through the forest. Terrified, the pregnant doe leapt across the river in panic. In the shock of the jump, her unborn fawn fell into the water, and the mother died, herself collapsed and died from the fear and exhaustion. Bharata was deeply moved. Out of compassion, he rescued the helpless baby deer and brought it back to his hermitage. At first, he simply cared for it kindly, but slowly, kindness turned into attachment. Bharata began spending all his time feeding the fawn, protecting it, playing with it, and worrying about it. Gradually, he neglects his meditation, his prayers, and spiritual practices. The king, who had renounced everything for liberation, had unknowingly become attached once again. And then came the final moment of his life. As Bharata lay, in his thoughts were fixed not to God, but the little deer. According to the spiritual teaching, the state of the mind at death strongly influences the next birth. And because Bharata's final thoughts were filled with attachment to the deer, he was reborn as a deer. Yet, this was no ordinary deer. By the grace of the Lord, Bharata retained memory of his previous life. Filled with regret, the deer stayed near sages and holy places, silently waiting for the end of that birth. After the deer's death, Bharata was born again, this time as the son of a holy Brahmana. Once again, he remembered everything. He remembered how attached he was, and that caused his fall. He determined never to repeat this mistake, and he chose a strange path. He pretended to be dull, foolish, and unintelligent so that no one would form close bonds with him, and he himself would avoid attachment. Because people thought he was stupid, he became known as JadaBharata. Jada meaning dull or inert. After his father's death, his own brothers mistreated him. Others forced him to perform hard labor. People mocked him, insulted him, and exploited him. Yet, JadaBharata never complained. Why? Because he no longer identified himself with the body or the mind. He had realized the self, the eternal spirit, beyond pleasure, pain, praise, and insult. One day, a gang of thieves captured JadaBharata. They planned to sacrifice him to the goddess Kali. They bathed him, dressed him in fine clothes, and prepared him for the ritual. But JadaBharata sat peacefully without fear. As the thief raised his sword to kill him, something extraordinary happened. The goddess Kali herself burst forth from the idol in fierce anger. She seized the sword and destroyed the wicked thieves instantly, protecting the innocent sage. JadaBharata calmly walked away as though nothing had happened. Later, King Rahugana was travelling in a palanquin. Seeing JadaBharata's strong body, the king's attendants forced him to help him carry it. But while walking, JadaBharata carefully avoided stepping on insects and tiny creatures on the ground. This caused the palanquin to move unevenly. Annoyed, King Raghurana mocked him sarcastically. He insulted the sage, calling him lazy and weak, and even threatened punishment. But JadaBharata remained calm. Without anger or pride, he gently replied, O king, the body may be fat or thin, young or old, but the true self is beyond all these conditions. Then he explained profound spiritual truths about the soul, liberation, and illusion of bodily identity. The king was stunned. He asked forgiveness and admitted that his ignorance has been destroyed through the company of the great sage. The story of JadaBharata carries a powerful lesson. Kindness is a virtue, but attachment binds us. We can love and care for others deeply without losing sight of wisdom, balance, and spiritual purpose. JadaBharata's life ultimately became a shining example of detachment, self realization, and unwavering focus on liberation. I hope you liked this episode. If so, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'll meet you in the next episode.